Well, happy New Year's Eve day. Here we are. So I'm going to start today's live channeling on Facebook, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness group page with the Divine Birther Prayer. O great Creatress, Divine Birther of all, assist me to fully embody my soul's light, to see through your eyes, to love as you love, to know that which is eternally true and helpful. May my actions fulfill my soul's purposes and uplift others. May my actions serve you, great Creatress, furthering your divine plan of love and unity with all life. It feels like a good way to start the day. I'm looking forward to channeling for you. That's what I do. I'm having so much fun doing it. Gotta have people to do it for. Oh, here we go. It's the soul's purpose prayer. My soul purposes go forth to bless, heal, inspire, elevate, and dignify the needs and hearts of all women and men. I know that matter and spirit are one, for everything is made of the one spirit. I look upon money as divine substance. I am divinely compensated in wonderful ways. Divine substance and money are constantly circulating in my life. Daily, joyously, divine substance flows freely to me. Every day I receive more clients, sales, students, and opportunities. Divine Source, I am grateful for your unlimited generosity in all things. Good morning, Gina Mango Bang. Happy almost New Year, Sugar Pie. Hope you're having a good one. I'm going to check back in here onto the Facebook page and see if anybody's got a question. And I'm going to have to keep managing the electronics. All right. Darla, good morning. So Darla's question is, when a soul reincarnates, will we no longer be able to communicate with them? No, you are always able to communicate with them. Especially if it's a soul like Uncle Sam, the one you were married to, then you're already connected to his soul. And it's the soul that maintains the link to the other souls within its soul group and to the divine. And so you can always communicate with them. If you're in doubt about whether you're connecting with their soul of the person that you think is going to reincarnate, you can send it up to the divine and let the divine send it to the person you're thinking about. And that's an effective way to send the communication through. And it literally gets stripped of any kind of ego or personality hiccups or barbed wire or personal agenda, and the love just gets there in its pure form when you do it. Send it up to the divine and down to the person. Also, there is no time as we know it in the soul realm, so you don't have to worry about whether it's now or then or the 1800s or the future, or the 2050s. It doesn't matter. You're not stuck in that linear process we call time. So a soul can choose to reincarnate, just for your information, since we're on this topic. A soul can choose to reincarnate it in 1856 if it sees a setting that it will most enhance its soul development and growth and evolution, and help the personality grow in its soul development and evolution, even at a personality level. A soul could choose to reincarnate in the future. The soul could choose to be reincarnating even right now. We can have concurrent lives going on even now. I have never seen my own, if there is one, but I have seen in readings for other people where they have a concurrent life going on at the same time, and there's a lot of juice that the soul has to maintain if it's going to fuel two bodies on the planet and keep that flow going and that connection going between the humans and the soul. As souls, we don't bring all of the soul energy and consciousness into our physical bodies because it's too much. It's kind of like we would explode. It's just too much, and it's too advanced for the earth plane. So we leave a percentage of the soul energy in the soul realm with the soul, and bring a certain amount of energy into our physical structure. Really, it's a matter of trust, in communicating with souls, and it's kind of like telepathy. When you think about somebody else, it's probably that they're thinking about you as well, and the two thought patterns are sort of linking up and stimulating one another as they go and get delivered to the person that's being thought about. And it happens instantaneously. All right, Lisa Davis has a question. Hi, Sugar Pie. Happy New Year's Eve Day. After your Divine Portal broadcast last night, which was amazing, I was left wondering. We opened the records of our crystals, and I was left asking, do crystals have a soul? For that matter, is it like American Indian thinking that everything has a soul? Nature, my coffee cup, my blanket. I love this. Okay. Everything that ever has been created was created by the divine. If it wasn't created, the divine didn't create it. So it has an essence. And so I would have to say, yes. I mean, your coffee cup may be more, if it's a handmade singular item, it might have a lot more like soul energy in it, and that might be one reason why it's appealing or repelling or feels better in your hand than any other cup. If you noticed last night, opening the records of the crystals and communicating with the crystals, they have consciousness. And that's the soul. That's the essence. It's everything has a certain consciousness. You know, even the oil that's drained out of my car has a certain consciousness. It's how it was drawn out of the earth and processed to become whatever viscosity it is, and what it did for my engine, and then how it picked up all this other glop as it was used and did its job in there, and then it was drained out. It has a certain consciousness. That's why animals have a certain consciousness. They're designed to have beingness and function and certain basic sets of skills, instincts, traits that are common to that species. And you can open the Akashic Records of anything you own and find out for yourself. You know, but nature, of course, every leaf, every species of plant, animal, microcosm, bacteria, mycelium, all of that has consciousness. And I think that's one reason why we feel so good when we go for a walk out in nature, is that we aren't just in our own ordinary consciousness, we're in the consciousness of the environment as well. I'm being slipped notes. Michelle's here with me today, in person. How can I serve the divine intentions for the coming cycle, the year of the horse in 2026? Oh, this is a great question. All right. Horses are allies. Some relationships with horses are deeper, horses between horses and humans are deeper than others. And the symbolic horse is one of strength, size, agility, grace, beauty, wildness, freedom. And these are all qualities that are really, really important in the year of 2026. And so how do we function, say, in the year of 2026 from the influence of grace? How does grace function in us and through us so that it serves the divine and so that it serves us? And this kind of speaks into the 7:30 a.m. Pacific time meditation on Facebook that was about combining our personal will with divine will, really consenting to like join in with the divine and throw in with her agenda for us as individuals and for all life forms, so that our effect is more unified with her divine plan. Our participation is more connected to that. I'm going to read this question again. How can I serve the divine's intentions for the coming cycle, the year of the horse, 2026? So, if I have an agenda and I walk into a room and I'm full force and in my personal agenda, you're going to feel like an army walked in and a general said, step up, sit up straight, do this, do that. I watched myself do this several times with my niece's children while they were here for Christmas. And I wasn't too happy about it because it felt so much like my will and my assessment of a situation and forcing a solution that may or may not have been divinely ordered. It wasn't. It was Annie ordered. It was based in my personality and the decisions I had made. But of course, couched in I was helping. How much help do you think that was to impose my will upon those poor young people? I don't think I was helping very much, but it was an excuse that I bought. So, being in tune for the year of the horse is kind of like that. And I don't know much about riding horses, but I have the sense that one has to have a cooperative relationship with the horse so that the direction one goes in and the mode you're in and the experience that you and the horse, or the rider and the horse, has, there is some unity, some communication, some bond that carries the two together in deep, deep relationship in order for it to be a graceful experience, a joyful, not domination over the horse, but cooperation with the horse and a communion with the horse, so that you are in one consciousness. And so I think there will be an asking, is this my will or divine will in the year of the horse? Am I trying to dominate, or am I being a space for the divine to be expressed through, for the benefit of all involved? It's as if, folks, the bar is being raised. We are not really getting away with some of the marginal things that were like, oh, well, that wasn't that bad. I think this year it's not going to be about perfection, but it's going to be about joining in with the flow. Where is this river of energy going, and how can I blend with it and not be so attached to my singularity, my personality, my personal agenda, and what is for the highest good of all involved. And I think that this is going to require a certain amount of time spent in solitary communion with the divine to establish this flow, to establish this link up, to continually consent to have my will here in the third chakra link up with divine will for me. And you know the divine has the highest good of all in mind. So it's not so much at looking at what am I going to lose here, because obviously my personality is coming from that place, but it's really looking at how can I be the opening for the divine to flow through and be expressed for the highest good of all. And there's a misunderstanding there. My ego says I'm going to lose credibility, I'm going to lose power, I'm going to lose authority, I'm going to pay. If I do that, if I lose my singularity and my separateness. But if I consent to blend my free will, my self-will, my choices with divine will for me as a soul in a body, and I consent to be a space the divine works through, and it's going to be very moment to moment. It's not going to be thinking about the future and picturing this. It's going to be, what is it now? How can I enlarge my opening for the divine to work through me, to do her grace, her magic, her miracles? And you know, all of it is bound in love. And so if something doesn't feel loving, I'm going to know. It's like with my niece's children and my personality wanting to dominate this and steer events and apply some order to what I saw and evaluated, judged as disorder. I had to step out of that judgment and get back into being the space that divine will comes through. And I noticed my personality was very interested in being liked by these kids. And I felt that what I did made them not like me. And you know, if anything I want is approval and being liked. How human. How human. How human. All right. So let's see. I'm going to refresh my page, but I'm also going to read this other part of Misha's question. Can you see the disturbances that are possible in the coming years? What are they? How can we prepare for and ride the wave of humanity now? Well, those are three really good questions too. Okay, let's take them one at a time. Can you see the disturbances that are possible in the coming year? Well, folks who join the Divine Portal as members will have access to the recording of Anubis doing a month-by-month prediction about what the energy of each of these months will be. And there was a lot of variety in those months. And there was one month, I think it was April, where there was going to be a heartbreak for the entire country of the United States. And it had the feel of the dimension of like when Kennedy was assassinated or Martin Luther King was assassinated. A lot of hope was just obliterated. A lot of the shining star that we had hoped to follow was obliterated. And there's going to be some kind of heartbreak like that coming in this year. Now, to hang our hopes on humanity might be a low bar. To hang our hopes on the perfection and the beauty of our own souls and our connection and our divine belongingness with the divine is a higher bar. And that seems like a better way for things to be worked out. And to ride the waves of the human reactions to the ups and downs that we are getting whacked by on a daily basis through the news and, the personalities in government and so forth that can't stand to not be on news. So disturbances during the year. Also, it was in September or October when the guides, Anubis, was saying we are going to need to eschew weaponry. And as a personality, that meant refrain from protecting and just, defending my position and fighting back, or it's my way or your way, and being at war with other individuals. And we have to eschew weapons, whether it's shields and personal protection or guns and knives and bombs and drones and going to war with other countries. We need to be the peace inside that comes through the divine. And that is a quality of the divine that we need to be the space for it to come through. We need to be that in ourselves, inside, in our hearts. We have to be united and connected with the divine and at peace, so that we are not adding to agitation, irritation, acting out violent occurrences, or resorting to holding guns and using weaponry in order to maintain, quote unquote, world domination. The only one who has world domination is the divine. And she is leading us to be more peaceful within. And so when I notice that I have my defenses up, or I'm insisting on being right, I have stepped away from my link with the divine. I have stepped away from my link with the soul, which is my link to the divine. I've stepped away from unity and being that space and that contribution to the world that being at peace is. There are so many beings now of light, so many higher consciousnesses broadcasting love and peace to this planet. We can see it as the flower of life pattern, an energetic pattern that surrounds our planet and some others as well. And we can link in with that. And if we have extra peace or extra love or extra light, we can place it on this flower of life grid work, this flower of life energetic structure around planet Earth. we can add to that. We can be a flow-through device, letting the divine's peace, the divine's love, the divine's unity, the divine's collective efforts to lead us to peace. And it is going to be a challenge. So practice now on the little things. When you find yourself getting irritated in the grocery line, why couldn't they have friggin' put a bagger on staff? It's Christmas Eve. Well, they didn't. And just drop the judgment. Drop that I know better than them. And don't they know who I am? I'm buying groceries on Christmas Eve, and there should be a bagger here to make my process easier. Well, accept the situation. It is as it is, as it is. And I'm not in control. I'm just part of the humanity flowing through the cashier's line. I'm not special. Oh, practice. And the guides are telling me right now for myself, when I want to act up and impose my will on children, to breathe, to take a breath. And it's kind of like that count to 10 thing before reacting. And if my instinct is to run on self-will, which feels like anger on the other end, the receiving parties, I want to check myself and ask that the divine take over and use me in a more constructive manner than what my personality has in mind. Okay, let's go to the 1 month that Anubis did not channel on was December. Anubis's answer about what was going on in December for 2026 was, it's a secret and we won't be able to know it until after March. How can we prepare for and ride the wave of humanity now? Well, I would say it's non-resistance, non-judgment. It does not mean we can't use our discernment or have preferences, and some of our preferences may be strong enough to feel like insistences. I insist upon this. And to be wary of those moments. Being of service and placing everything in front of the divine as I offer this to you for your blessing. And if it doesn't have your blessing, straighten me out and redirect me. Divine. So that as many of my acts, my actions, are placed in front of the divine and offered to the divine for her to steer and either produce if it blends with her will, or not produce if it is not good for all involved. And she can see so much for so far. She knows. She's read the last chapter. She knows how this turns out and what's necessary to get us from here to there. And then there is a whole new chapter that begins after that. How can we prepare for and ride the wave? Non-resistance. Non-resistance. You know? And if I can't find non-resistance in myself, I might have to have a sit with the divine. Invite the divine for tea. And ask the divine how I can be adjusted, changed, steered in a more orderly fashion that blends with her will for me as a human and as a soul. How can my strong self-will be tempered into a proper instrument for the divine to utilize? And then receive the gifts that she's giving us. I'm going to just check and see if there are other questions here. We're doing really good today. These are very wonderful topics. Gina says, I'm sure they loved you. I'm not. I'm really not. I was hard on them. And they've had a hard life, and they don't necessarily need that. But also, I have benefited in my life from applying some self-discipline and from having a certain kind of order in my world, and I seem to thrive on that, and this is a personal response. There is not that much order in their lives, very little order of that nature of what I deem as useful, that I grew up with, and it must be right if that's what I grew up with. See, that's the way my personality thinks. And to then force that on them may not have been the healing that I would have hoped for. And yet, maybe they'll understand. They need to help their mother, not just wait till it happens to them. But that's my BFO, and you know what a big flippin' opinion that is. It's very personality based. It's not necessarily divine wisdom based. So all adults feel like they're being hard on you when you're a kid. They probably blew it off in a few seconds. Well, yeah, that could be right. You know, they're easily called away. They all had screens to look at to change the subject and get out of their feelings, as I do myself. But thank you for the comfort. Okay. Davina says, it was the divine helping you see something in you. That's what I think. I'm with Davina. I think that whole episode was for my benefit. To tame my self-will and my pride and my insistence that things have to be my way. And just take a breath. take a breath. No, don't react. Not a knee-jerk reaction. I'm in danger of being in self-will. I'm in a knee-jerk reaction. Is this the divine talking? Probably not. Gina says, children are limbo beasts. They live in the moment. Yes, thank God. Thank God. Gina says, you're loved. Thank you. It was the divine helping me see something in me. I have to agree with that. And I am so willing to grow. You know? It'd be an interesting writing exercise to write down what I think I'm going to lose if I'm not in control of a situation. If I don't get my way. Wow. Gina says, limbic. Oh, not limbo. Well, these kids have been in limbo a bit, with their father having committed suicide in April, and it having very much shaken up the household order, and they get to live with that. But limbic, I'm not precisely sure which part of the brain the limbic brain is, but I have a feeling you're correct. Oh my. Well, we're getting towards the end here. Are there any other questions? That's a great exercise. I struggle with control issues sometimes. I know. Sometimes it seems so easy to let go of control, and it's just like, oh, what's the big deal? And other times, I can't even see how strong my self-will is, and it has overtaken me. And that's when it usually feels like anger. And I know that was what was being received. Like, I was talking to the middle child who is a little bit on the spectrum, and just saying, you know, I know you're capable of doing these things, and so just kick that into gear. But it was coming off as, you know, you can't fool me. It wasn't loving. It was said in anger. But I also think it was on track to be the right message, because if we treat him as being unable, then he's going to believe it. And I think he's more able than we let him show us. You know, like, the writing exercise would be like, what does my personality really be going to believe that is going to happen if I'm not in control? Really? I mean, for all I know, it's going to be a whole lot better. Because my self-will can step on other people's toes, hurt their feelings, be way off track, be completely out of left field. You know, I can be a barking, growling, drooling, fearful dog with fangs, you know, and that's not what I think of as my spiritual self. That's definitely the dark side. But it's the one that wants to be in control that gets like that. The part of me that gets like that. Right, my friends. Okay. We have the multitudes here. Greetings. And it is our pleasure to serve you in your efforts to be at peace with this world that feels chaotic, disordered, out of control, domineering, and feisty. We are pleased to be of service to you and to the divine, who is our mistress, who is the one we take orders from, to assist you all in finding that peace within, that acceptance of the state of the world, even though it need not be your interior state of being. This is our gift to you, to open a broader understanding of the spiritual information you get from above and drops into the crown chakra and meets up at the third eye with your daily life knowing, and mixes and matches and blends and comes to new conclusions that are far more peaceful for your insides. And now, for the rest of your day, go have fun. We bid you adieu for now. Thank you, Davina. Thank you, Mylene. I didn't know that you were on here today. Nice to see you. Happy blessings and Happy New Year. Thanks for being here, sharing your love. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you all. I love you all. And please join my Divine Portal and be part of this monthly events. Plus, there's probably going to be full moon and new moon things. I know we're doing a new moon ceremony for the Divine Portal members on Saturday at 9 a.m. on Zoom. That's Pacific time. And so you have to be a member to get the Zoom link and participate. But this is a heck of a full moon, and it's a Cancer moon, new moon, or full moon. And the amazing thing is that there's a Cancer full moon at the beginning of the year, and there's a Cancer full moon at the end of the year, and it's like bookending this year, which really sets a strong pace and tone about home and coming home to ourselves. Real estate, some other qualities, but it's setting the tone for the rest of the year. So I think it's going to be an important ceremony to participate in, and I'm looking forward to being schooled myself. And you can join on my website, anniechannels.com, and go into the button that says Divine Portal, and you can read all about it. You can join at the $44 a month level, which is really not much for spiritual instruction and being with like-minded people. Or you can join at $66 a month, and then you get discounts on all the services you get from me. So, pick one that suits you. All right, my friends, thank you. I'm so honored. Be well.